Hello, and welcome back to Speak English Daily.
Hi, everyone. We are very happy to see you here today.
Hello, everyone. I'm Anna, and I'm really happy you're joining us today. In this episode, we're going to talk about something that people discuss almost every day in real conversations. We're going to learn how to talk about your future plans in English. This is a very useful skill because the future is a common topic when people chat with friends, coworkers, classmates, or even new people they just met.
Hi, everyone. I'm Mike. I'm glad we're talking about this topic because I hear questions about the future all the time. Sometimes people ask me things like, "What are you doing this weekend?" or "What are your plans for next month?" I usually understand the question, but sometimes I'm not sure which words I should use in my answer.
That's a very common situation for English learners. Many people know what they want to say, but they feel unsure about the correct phrases. The good news is that English has some simple and clear ways to talk about the future. Once you learn a few key phrases, it becomes much easier to join these conversations.
That sounds encouraging. I like the idea that we don't need dozens of phrases, just a few useful ones that we can use often.
Exactly. In real life, people repeat many of the same expressions when they talk about plans. For example, you might talk about your weekend plans, your plans for tonight, or even your goals for the next year. All of these conversations are about the future.
So when someone asks about my plans, they're asking about something that will happen later.
Right. A plan is something you decide to do in the future. It can be something small, like going to the gym tomorrow, or something bigger, like learning a new skill or traveling to another country.
I think people talk about small plans very often. For example, someone might ask, "What are you doing after work?"
That's a great example. Imagine you're having a casual conversation with a coworker. Your coworker asks, "What are you doing after work today?" That question is about your future plans, even though the future is only a few hours away.
I might answer, "I'm meeting a friend for coffee," or "I'm going home to relax."
Those are natural responses. Notice that when people talk about the future, they usually include two important things. First, they mention the activity. Second, they mention the time.
So the activity could be meeting a friend, studying English, or watching a movie. And the time could be tonight, tomorrow, or this weekend.
Exactly. These time expressions help the listener understand when the plan will happen. Words like tonight, tomorrow, later, this weekend, next week, or next year appear very often in conversations about the future.
I noticed something interesting. Even simple conversations can include future plans.
That's true. For example, imagine two friends talking.
One friend might ask, "What are you doing this weekend?"
And the other friend could answer, "I'm visiting my parents," or "I'm staying home and relaxing."
Those answers sound simple, but they still talk about the future.
Exactly. Talking about the future doesn't always mean discussing big life goals. Sometimes it's just about everyday plans. But these small conversations help people connect with each other.
I like that idea. When people share their plans, the conversation becomes more personal.
That's right. And during today's episode, we're going to explore several helpful phrases that English speakers use when they talk about the future. I'll introduce the phrases and explain how they work, and Mike will practice using them in conversation.
I'm ready to learn and practice with you.
Great. Let's start by looking at some of the most common ways people talk about their plans that are coming soon.
Sounds good. Let's get started.
All right, let's start exploring some of the most common ways people talk about their future plans. One of the easiest and most common phrases in English is going to. Native speakers use this phrase all the time when they talk about something they plan to do.
I've heard that phrase many times. People say things like, "I'm going to watch a movie tonight."
Exactly. The structure is very simple. You say, "I am going to," then you add a verb. For example, "I am going to study," "I am going to travel," or "I'm going to call my friend."
So if I say, "I'm going to study English tonight," that means I plan to do it later.
That's right. You already decided to do it. Let's try a few examples together. Mike, what are you going to do after this recording?
After this recording, I'm going to make some lunch.
Good. That sounds natural. Now, let's add a time expression. What are you going to do this evening?
This evening, I'm going to watch a documentary.
Perfect. Notice how Mike included both the activity and the time. That makes the sentence very clear.
I can see why this phrase is useful. It feels simple and natural.
It really is, and you'll hear it everywhere. Friends use it, coworkers use it, and even teachers use it in casual conversation.
Can we try another example?
Of course. I'll ask you a question. Mike, what are you going to do this weekend?
This weekend, I'm going to visit my cousin.
That's a great answer. Let's imagine you're talking to a friend. Your friend asks, "Do you have any plans for this weekend?"
I could answer, yes, I'm going to visit my cousin and spend some time with family.
Excellent. That sounds very natural. Now let's look at another useful phrase, planning to.
That sounds similar to going to.
It is similar, but there is a small difference. When you say planning to, it often shows that you have thought about the activity carefully. Maybe you arranged it already, or you decided it recently.
So it sounds a little more intentional.
Exactly. For example, someone might say, "I'm planning to start exercising next week."
That means the person has already decided to begin.
Yes. Let's practice. Mike, can you make a sentence using planning to?
Sure, I'm planning to read a new book this week.
Very good. Now try another one about learning English.
I'm planning to practice English every day.
That's a great plan, and that sentence sounds very clear. Notice that both going to and planning to help you talk about things you decided to do in the future.
I like how simple the structure is.
Yes, and here's something important. In casual conversation, people often shorten "I'm going to" into "I'm gonna" when they speak quickly.
Oh yes, I hear that in movies all the time.
Exactly. For example, someone might say, "I'm gonna call you later," or "I'm gonna start working soon."
But when learners speak, is it okay to say the full form?
Absolutely. Saying "I'm going to" is clear and correct. Over time, you might notice the faster pronunciation, but the full form is always safe to use.
That makes me feel more comfortable.
Good. Now, let's practice a small conversation using these phrases. Imagine we're friends talking after work.
Okay, let's try it.
Mike, what are you going to do tonight?
Tonight, I'm going to cook dinner and relax at home. What about you?
I'm planning to meet a friend for coffee.
That sounds nice. Are you going to stay out late?
No, I'm going to come home early because I'm planning to wake up early tomorrow.
That conversation feels very natural.
Exactly. These are the types of simple conversations people have every day. The more you practice phrases like going to and planning to, the easier it becomes to talk about your plans.
I think listeners can start using these phrases immediately.
That's the goal. Simple phrases that help you communicate clearly. And as we continue, we'll look at more expressions that help you describe your goals and hopes for the future.
I'm curious about those. Talking about goals sounds interesting.
Now that we've talked about simple plans using phrases like going to and planning to, let's move a little further into the future. Sometimes people don't just talk about what they will do tonight or this weekend, they also talk about their goals and hopes for the future.
So these are things that might happen months or even years later.
Exactly. These are often called long-term plans. They can include things like learning a new skill, changing careers, traveling to another country, or improving your education.
I hear people talk about that a lot. Someone might say, I want to learn another language, or I want to start my own business someday.
Those are great examples. One useful phrase for talking about future goals is, "I hope to."
I think I understand that phrase. It sounds like something you really want to happen.
That's right. When you say, "I hope to," you are expressing a wish for the future. You want it to happen, but it might take time or effort.
So it's not just a simple plan, it's more like a goal.
Exactly. Let's practice with a few examples. Mike, can you make a sentence using "I hope to"?
Let me try. I hope to improve my English this year.
That's a great sentence. It clearly shows your goal. Let's try another one.
I hope to travel to Japan someday.
Excellent. Notice that Mike used the word someday. That word is often used when the time is not specific, but the dream is still important.
I like that word. It feels hopeful.
It does. Now let's look at another helpful phrase. I'd like to.
That sounds polite.
Yes, it's a very common and natural way to talk about something you want to do in the future. The phrase, I'd like to, is short for I would like to.
So if I say I'd like to learn guitar, it means I want to learn it in the future.
Exactly. Let's practice with a few examples. Mike, what is something new you'd like to learn?
I'd like to learn photography.
That's a wonderful skill. Now let me ask another question. Where would you like to travel in the future?
I'd like to visit Italy.
That sounds exciting. Notice how easy these sentences are. You simply say, I'd like to, then add a verb.
So it could be I'd like to travel, I'd like to study, or I'd like to start a new hobby.
Exactly right. Now let's explore another phrase that people often use when they talk about goals. The phrase is, my goal is to.
That sounds more serious.
It can sound more determined. When someone says, my goal is to, it means they have a clear objective for the future.
So it shows strong intention.
Yes. For example, someone might say, my goal is to become fluent in English.
That sounds very focused.
It does. Let's try an example together. Mike, can you make a sentence using my goal is to?
My goal is to read more books this year.
Very nice. That sentence clearly shows what you want to achieve.
I'm starting to notice something interesting. These phrases help people talk about dreams and plans without sounding complicated.
That's a great observation. English conversations often rely on simple structures. Once you learn a few of them, you can express many ideas.
Let's try a small conversation using these phrases.
Good idea. I'll start. Mike, what is something you hope to do in the future?
I hope to travel to several countries and experience different cultures.
That sounds wonderful. What is something you'd like to learn?
I'd like to learn how to cook more international dishes.
That's a fun goal. And finally, what is one goal you have this year?
My goal is to practice English speaking every day.
That's a fantastic goal, and I'm sure many of our listeners share the same idea.
I think talking about goals makes conversations more interesting.
It really does. When people share their hopes and dreams, it helps others understand what matters to them.
And it also creates deeper conversations.
Exactly. In the next part of our conversation, we'll explore something slightly different. Sometimes we talk about the future, but we're not completely sure about our plans yet.
That happens to me often. Sometimes I'm still thinking about what I want to do.
That's perfectly normal, and English has several phrases that help you express that uncertainty.
I'm curious to learn those.
So far, we've talked about future plans that feel fairly clear. You might say you're going to do something, you're planning to do something, or you hope to achieve a goal. But real life isn't always that certain. Sometimes we talk about the future when we are still deciding.
That happens to me a lot. Sometimes people ask me about my plans and I'm still thinking about them.
Exactly. And English has some very useful phrases for those situations. These phrases help you express that something might happen, but you're not fully sure yet.
That sounds helpful because sometimes I feel pressure to give a definite answer.
You don't always need a definite answer. One of the most common phrases people use in this situation is, I might.
I hear that phrase very often.
Yes, it's extremely common. When you say, I might, it means something is possible, but it's not certain. You're considering it, but you haven't decided completely.
So if I say I might go to the gym tonight, it means I'm thinking about it, but I'm not fully committed.
Exactly. Maybe you'll go, maybe you won't. Let's practice a few examples. Mike, can you make a sentence using I might?
Sure, I might watch a movie later tonight.
That's a perfect example. Now try another one about the weekend.
This weekend, I might visit a friend.
Very good. Notice how natural that sounds. This phrase is especially useful in casual conversations because people often talk about possibilities.
I think it also sounds relaxed. It doesn't feel too serious.
That's a good observation. Now let's look at another helpful phrase. I'm thinking about.
That sounds like someone is still deciding.
Exactly. When you say, I'm thinking about, it means you are considering an idea. You haven't made the final decision yet.
So it's like the idea is in my mind, but I'm still evaluating it.
That's right. Let's practice with an example. Mike, can you make a sentence using I'm thinking about?
I'm thinking about starting a new exercise routine.
Excellent. That sentence clearly shows that the decision is not final yet. You are still considering it.
Let me try another one. I'm thinking about taking an online course.
Very good. Those are great examples of how people talk about ideas they are considering.
I noticed something interesting. When I say I'm planning to, it sounds more decided. But when I say I'm thinking about, it sounds less certain.
Exactly. That small difference in wording changes the meaning of the sentence.
English seems very sensitive to these small phrases.
It is, and that's why learning them helps your conversations sound more natural.
Is there another phrase people use for uncertain plans?
Yes, there is. Another useful expression is, I'm considering.
That sounds a little more thoughtful.
It does. When someone says, I'm considering, it means they are carefully thinking about a choice.
So it sounds a bit more serious than I might.
That's right. For example, someone might say, I'm considering changing my job.
That sounds like an important decision.
Exactly. Let's practice a sentence together. Mike, can you make a sentence using I'm considering?
I'm considering learning another language.
That's a great idea. Learning languages can open many opportunities.
Let me try another one. I'm considering moving to a new city someday.
Excellent. That sentence clearly shows that you're thinking carefully about a future possibility.
I like how these phrases allow us to speak honestly when we're unsure.
That's an important part of communication. People appreciate honest answers, even if the answer is uncertain.
Let's try a short conversation using these phrases.
Good idea. I'll start. Mike, what are you doing this weekend?
I'm not completely sure yet. I might go hiking with a friend.
That sounds fun. Are you planning anything else?
I'm thinking about visiting my parents on Sunday.
That's nice. Family visits are always meaningful.
What about you? Do you have any plans?
I'm considering taking a short trip to the countryside.
That sounds relaxing.
See how these phrases help us talk about ideas that are still developing?
Yes, and they make the conversation feel very natural.
Exactly. In everyday life, many plans start as possibilities. As time passes, those possibilities often become clearer decisions.
That makes sense. First, we might think about something, and later we decide to do it.
Right. And in the next part of our conversation, we'll look at another way people talk about the future. Sometimes people don't just talk about plans. They also talk about predictions about what they think will happen.
That sounds interesting because predictions can be about personal life or even the world.
Exactly. People often share their opinions about the future.
I'm curious to hear those examples.
Up to this point, we've talked about plans and possibilities. Now let's explore another way people speak about the future. Sometimes we don't just talk about our own plans. Instead, we talk about predictions. A prediction is something we believe will happen in the future.
So it's more like an opinion about the future.
Exactly. You are sharing what you think will happen. A very common phrase people use for predictions is, I think I will.
I hear that phrase often when people talk about their future.
Yes, it's very common in everyday conversation. For example, someone might say, I think I will start exercising more next month.
That means the person believes they will probably do it.
Right. It shows an intention, but it also shows that the idea is still forming. Let's practice with a few examples. Mike, can you make a sentence using I think I will?
Let me try. I think I will start reading more books this year.
That's a great example. It sounds natural and positive. Now try another one about learning English.
I think I will practice speaking English more often.
Excellent. That sentence clearly shows a future intention. I notice that when I say, I think I will, it sounds like a personal decision that I'm developing.
That's a good observation. Now let's look at another useful phrase. I believe.
That sounds a little stronger.
Yes, it often expresses a stronger opinion. When you say, I believe, you are showing confidence in your idea or prediction.
So it sounds more certain than I think.
In many cases, yes. For example, someone might say, I believe technology will change education in the future.
That sounds like a thoughtful prediction.
Exactly. Let's practice. Mike, can you make a prediction using I believe?
I believe online learning will become more popular in the future.
That's a very realistic prediction. Let's try another one about travel.
I believe more people will travel to different countries in the future.
Very good. Predictions like these are common when people discuss trends and changes.
I see that predictions are not only about personal plans, they can also be about the world.
That's right. People talk about predictions when they discuss technology, work, education, and even lifestyle changes.
Is there another phrase people use for predictions?
Yes, there's a very helpful one. I probably will.
That sounds like something between certain and uncertain.
Exactly. It means something is likely to happen, but it's not guaranteed.
So if I say, I probably will go to the gym tomorrow, it means it's likely but not definite.
That's correct. Let's practice with an example. Mike, what is something you probably will do this weekend?
I probably will spend some time reading and relaxing.
That sounds like a peaceful weekend. Now try another one about next week.
I think I will probably focus more on my work projects next week.
Excellent. That sentence clearly shows a likely plan.
I'm noticing something interesting. These prediction phrases are also useful when we talk about our own future.
Yes, that's true. Sometimes our plans are not fully decided, but we still have an idea of what might happen.
Let's try a short conversation using these prediction phrases.
Good idea. Mike, what do you think you will do after this recording?
I think I will take a short break and make some coffee.
That sounds nice. What do you believe will help you improve your English?
I believe regular practice will help me improve a lot.
That's a great mindset. And what will you probably do this evening?
I probably will review some English vocabulary and watch a short video in English.
That's an excellent way to practice.
I like these phrases because they help me talk about my thoughts about the future.
Exactly. Predictions allow you to share ideas and opinions about what might happen.
I can imagine these phrases being useful in many conversations.
Absolutely. People often discuss the future when they talk about personal goals, global changes, or even daily life.
And now we've learned several ways to talk about the future.
Yes, we've covered many useful expressions already, but there's another interesting way people talk about the future. Sometimes people share their dreams or the life they imagine for themselves someday.
That sounds exciting because dreams can be very inspiring.
They really can, and in the next part of our conversation, we'll explore phrases people use when they talk about their dreams and the future they hope to create.
I'm looking forward to that discussion. So far, we've talked about plans, possibilities, and predictions. Now let's explore something a little more personal. Sometimes when people talk about the future, they talk about their dreams. Dreams are the things we truly want to achieve someday, even if they take many years.
I like that topic. Dreams make conversations feel more meaningful.
They really do. When people share their dreams, they reveal what inspires them. English has several phrases that help you express these ideas naturally.
I'm curious to learn them.
One very common phrase is, "One day I want to."
That sounds very hopeful.
It is. This phrase is often used when someone talks about a dream that may happen in the future, but not necessarily soon. For example, someone might say, "One day I want to travel around the world."
That sounds like an exciting dream.
It does. Let's practice. Mike, can you make a sentence using "one day I want to"?
One day I want to visit many different countries.
That's a wonderful dream. Traveling helps people learn about new cultures and experiences.
Let me try another one. One day I want to speak English fluently.
That's a fantastic goal, and many of our listeners probably share that dream.
I hope they do. Now let's look at another phrase people use when they talk about dreams. The phrase is, "My dream is to."
That sounds strong.
Yes, it expresses something very important to you. When someone says, "My dream is to," it usually means this goal is very meaningful in your life.
So it's more emotional than a simple plan.
Exactly. For example, someone might say, "My dream is to start my own business."
That sounds like a big ambition.
It does. Let's practice together. Mike, can you make a sentence using "my dream is to"?
My dream is to travel and experience different cultures.
That's a great dream. Traveling can be very enriching.
Let me try another example. My dream is to help people learn English.
That's a wonderful goal. Helping others learn is always meaningful.
I'm noticing that dreams often involve long-term goals. That's right. Dreams usually take time and effort, but talking about them can be motivating.
Is there another phrase people use when they imagine their future life?
Yes, there's a very interesting phrase, I see myself.
That sounds different.
It is. When someone says, I see myself, they are imagining their future life. They are describing what they picture for themselves in the future.
So it's like describing a future version of yourself.
Exactly. For example, someone might say, in the future, I see myself living in a peaceful town.
That sounds very vivid.
It helps people express how they imagine their future life. Let's practice. Mike, can you make a sentence using I see myself?
In the future, I see myself working in a creative field.
Very nice. That sentence clearly describes how you imagine your future career.
Let me try another one. In a few years, I see myself speaking English confidently.
That's a great vision. Confidence grows with practice.
I like how this phrase allows us to describe a picture of our future.
Exactly. Dreams and visions help people stay motivated and focused on their goals.
Let's try a small conversation using these dream phrases.
Good idea. I'll start. Mike, what is something you want to do someday?
One day I want to travel across Europe.
That sounds amazing. What is one of your biggest dreams?
My dream is to build a career that allows me to help people.
That's a very meaningful dream. And how do you imagine your life in the future?
In the future, I see myself living a balanced life with meaningful work and time for family.
That's a beautiful vision for the future.
Talking about dreams really changes the tone of a conversation.
It does. These types of conversations often feel deeper and more inspiring.
I think listeners can use these phrases when they talk about their hopes and ambitions.
Absolutely. Sharing dreams can create strong connections between people.
And it also encourages people to think about what truly matters to them.
Exactly. Now that we've explored plans, possibilities, predictions, and dreams, the next step is to bring everything together. In the next part of our conversation, we'll review the key phrases we've learned and practice them in different examples.
That will help listeners remember everything.
We've covered quite a few useful expressions so far, so this is a good moment to review them together. When learners review phrases, it helps move the language from short-term memory into long-term memory. So let's go through the key phrases we used today and practice them again in simple situations.
That sounds helpful. When I hear the phrases more than once, they start to feel more natural.
Exactly. Repetition is very important when learning a language. Let's start with the first phrase we discussed earlier, going to. We use going to when we talk about plans that we already decided.
Right, like when I say, I'm going to study English tonight.
Perfect example. The structure is simple. You say, I'm going to, and then add the action. Let's try another one. Mike, what are you going to do tomorrow?
Tomorrow I'm going to finish some work and then relax in the evening.
Very good. That sentence clearly explains your plan and the time.
I like this phrase because it's easy to use in many situations.
That's true. Now let's look at another phrase we practiced earlier, planning to. This phrase shows that you have thought about something and decided you want to do it.
So it feels a little more intentional.
Exactly. Let's try a sentence. Mike, what is something you're planning to do this month?
I'm planning to read 2 new books this month.
That's a great goal. Reading regularly can really improve vocabulary.
I'll try to keep that plan.
Now let's move to another phrase, I hope to. When you say I hope to, you are expressing something you wish to achieve in the future.
It feels like a positive goal.
Exactly. Mike, can you make a sentence using I hope to?
I hope to improve my English speaking skills this year.
That's an excellent goal, and it's very realistic with regular practice.
I think many listeners share that goal.
I believe so too. Now let's look at another phrase, I'd like to. This phrase is very common in conversations because it sounds polite and natural.
For example, I could say, I'd like to travel more in the future.
Perfect. That sentence clearly expresses something you want to do.
It feels simple but expressive.
Exactly. Now let's review a phrase that shows uncertainty. I might.
That's when we're not completely sure.
Correct. For example, someone might say, I might go for a walk later.
Let me try one. I might watch a movie tonight.
Good example. The plan is possible, but not guaranteed.
That phrase is very useful for casual conversations.
Absolutely. Now let's review another expression, I'm thinking about.
That means I'm considering an idea.
Exactly. For example, someone might say, I'm thinking about learning a new skill.
I'm thinking about starting a new hobby.
Great example. That clearly shows you're considering something.
I notice that many of these phrases are very flexible.
That's a great observation. Once you know them, you can use them in many different contexts.
That makes conversations easier.
Exactly. Now let's quickly review two phrases related to dreams. The first one is, one day I want to.
That phrase sounds very hopeful.
It does. Mike, can you give an example?
One day I want to travel across several continents.
Wonderful. That sounds like a big adventure.
I hope it happens.
And the second dream phrase is, my dream is to. That one sounds more personal.
Yes, it expresses something very meaningful to you. My dream is to build a career that allows me to continue learning and growing while helping others at the same time.
That's a beautiful dream. Reviewing these phrases really helps me remember them. That's the purpose of this part of the conversation. When you hear the phrases again and use them in sentences, they become easier to recall in real conversations.
I feel more confident about talking about future plans now.
That's wonderful to hear. In the final part of our conversation, we'll bring everything together in a longer, natural discussion where we use many of these phrases again.
That will help listeners see how these expressions work in real conversations.
Now let's bring everything together with a natural conversation. We've talked about several phrases for discussing the future, and this is a good chance to use them in a relaxed dialogue.
That makes sense. In real life, people don't only talk about one type of future idea. They move between different thoughts.
Exactly. So let's imagine we're having a casual conversation about the future. Mike, let me start with a simple question. What are you going to do this weekend?
This weekend, I'm going to spend some time relaxing because it has been a busy week. I'm also going to meet a friend for coffee on Saturday.
That sounds like a nice balance between rest and social time. Are you planning to do anything else?
Yes, I'm planning to read a book that I started last week. I didn't have enough time to finish it earlier.
That sounds like a good plan. Reading is always a great way to relax and learn something new. Now let me ask you something slightly different. What is something you hope to achieve this year?
This year, I hope to improve my English speaking skills. I want to feel more confident when I have conversations with people.
That's a very realistic goal. Consistent practice can make a big difference. What is one thing you'd like to try that you haven't done before?
I'd like to try a creative hobby. I'm thinking about trying photography because it seems interesting.
Photography can be a wonderful hobby. It allows you to capture moments and see the world in a new way. Do you think you will start learning it soon?
I think I will start learning the basics in the next few months. I probably will watch some tutorials and practice taking photos during my free time.
That sounds like a practical approach. Learning step by step usually works best. Now let's talk about something a little less certain. Is there anything you might do later this year?
I might take a short trip with some friends if we can find the right time. We've talked about it, but we haven't made a final decision yet.
That sounds exciting. Traveling with friends can create great memories. Are you considering any particular destination?
I'm considering visiting a place with nature, maybe somewhere with mountains or lakes. I enjoy quiet places where I can relax and enjoy the scenery.
That sounds very peaceful. Nature trips are a great way to recharge. Now let's think a bit further into the future. Where do you see yourself in a few years?
In a few years, I see myself speaking English much more confidently and using it regularly in my daily life.
That's a wonderful vision. What is one dream you have for the future?
One day, I want to travel to many different countries and experience new cultures. I believe traveling can teach us a lot about the world.
That's a beautiful dream. Experiencing new cultures can broaden our perspective and help us understand people better.
I also have another dream. My dream is to build a career that allows me to continue learning and growing while helping others at the same time. And I think conversations like this help people feel more comfortable talking about their own future plans, hopes, and dreams.